Alright, it's the next day. Got myself another speaker system. This one's USB powered, so theoretically all I need to do is just have it just has something that can transform the 7 point whatever voltage down to 5 volts, and this will work just fine. Good grief, I can't speak. But yeah, I got this. And of course also Kazha will be able to control the actual how bright she wants the LEDs and whatnot with the knob. So that's going to be a whole, so I'm going to do is something for this. And I also went to Goodwill and picked up a few vinyl records. So I'm pretty sure I have more than enough vinyl records to finish this thing off if I accidentally kill one or two. So now I'm going to give myself a small break because I just literally only just got up only 2 hours ago. And the instant I got up, I was out and about going to Goodwill and whatnot. So I kind of need to take a small break and actually getting my energy up before I actually start finishing this DubStep gun off. So I'll come back in maybe 1 or 2 hours with me actually getting something done with this thing. Because I'm going to take a small break before I start actually working on it. Well, at least I know why these things sound like hot garbage. That speaker is garbage. But the board itself doesn't look too bad. I wonder if there's a copyright date on this board. Let me know how old it is. Because, man, this board looks old. Well, I mean, either way, this is so incredibly basic. But for what I need, just something to run LEDs, this is more than sufficient. Alright, so I got the vinyl added, the little rims added. And generally speaking, the only thing I gotta do now is add the little red dot that goes here. And add the red trimming to the edges. And this section here is done. Well, actually no, because there's one more piece I gotta add, and that piece is this little area right here. But I'm not going to add those until I actually close this DubStep gun up and actually have it at a state to where I know I'm pretty much okay with the way everything's going. Now I actually haven't gone in and seated in the VU meter yet because I want to make sure that the VU meter is properly aligned before I do that. So I just have it's just practically just a friction fit. But I am going to solder the LED wires to it. I'm going to solder the LED wires to the main LED wire harness on this side. So luckily, so now I'll just gotta get another piece of LED wire and just have a nice long piece. So that way, so it's just one lead wire. And I'm just going to put this all basically flat to the actual DubStep gun itself. It does look like a bit of a wiring nightmare, but I can easily see where all these wires go to and how everything's wired up. So if something goes wrong and I need to repair this thing the next time I see Kazha, I'll be able to just simply cut this thing open and trace all the wires and whatnot. So the amplifier I had in mind, which is this right here, it doesn't work. So I have to pretty much can it. It just doesn't get loud enough. So I have to go and buy another. I have to go out and get another Bluetooth amplifier. Jeez, here I was hoping this would actually work. Alright, so I'm actually getting this thing somewhat put together to an extent. I'm already in the process of getting the main front speaker here set up properly. But as you can tell, I'm putting dabs of hot glue all throughout. And I'm going to have to put dabs of hot glue on each and every side of these boxes. And on the ends right here. And then gob the whole snot of out of this support rod here. And since even though this thing is high temp, it's really not high temp. For something like this, I need to get one of those big hot glue guns that are true high temp hot glue guns. Because if I get one of those things, I can gob the whole snot. I can gob the whole snot of probably this section and probably all of this in one go without having to let it reheat. Since I'm using this thing, I have to let this thing reheat after a little bit of a gobbing and whatnot. So yeah, it's gonna take a while. So I'm just going to sit back and listen to my music. if it decides to show the next track, which is probably not going to. There it goes. Also, this thing gets louder than my current. I feel a bit ashamed. Kazha, you're getting a better dubstep gun, which is a good thing in the end. Alright, so technically Kazha's dubstep gun now is 95% complete. The reason why I say 95 is because I had to still put the thing together. I still have to put the rim pieces right here on there, and I gotta build the stand, and I gotta also put in a battery base so this thing can be mobile if she ever chooses to. And of course I also gotta attach the little portion here, which is actually, and I also gotta attach this to the other side. So yeah. So hopefully tomorrow I can. There are two things I'm going to do tomorrow. One is I'm going to pull apart one of my other creations. This will be something that I can actually pull apart and know I won't completely wreck. So I'm going to try that amplifier. If that amplifier works, then I'm good to go. And I'll just be able to place that secondary amp right here. I'll have to put some little buttons on here because that amp is button controlled. I'll just have to make sure I only put the buttons that I need for volume up and down, because that's all she'll need. But yeah. But for right now, for the sake of this video, I'm using the cheap amplifier that is completely a piece of junk. But it does work to an extent, so I can show you how everything functions. So let's see how I actually wire it. So let me see if I can do this without knocking everything over. Alright, so here's how the wiring is for the front panel. I still have to attach this speaker wire here, which actually goes here. I have a temporary right there. I have all the wiring for the LEDs to go up to this one little harness right here. That also goes into the secondary harness here that goes to the main box. And of course, this harness goes to the LEDs here. It goes to this little portion here that runs the VU meter right here. And it goes to the LEDs back here. And of course, there's some LEDs back here too. Let's see. And basically what happens is that, let's see, how can I do this properly? Give me a second. I'm trying to figure out how I want to explain how the whole LED system works. So give me a second. Okay. So so I'm going to try and make this simplified as possible. So here is the main amplifier. This main amplifier runs this speaker, which is actually going to be this one here, and the main speaker here. And if I can play some, if I play one for lungs. Wait for you to land and fly. It runs both these two speakers. Then I have a secondary wire, which is this wire right here. That goes, well actually, yeah. It's this wire here. What the heck is, oh, that's because this wire goes directly to here, which is the speaker wire. Okay, I'm getting confused by my own wiring. Oh god. So this main wire here goes to both this speaker here and then to this little aux port here. And this little aux cable goes directly to the amplifier, which is the secondary one. This secondary amplifier, even though this one's a piece of junk, takes the current amount of volume that the main amp is producing and doubles it by how many button presses I give. Like if I go full max, I'll give it probably like maybe 3 or 4 times. And then it goes to, then all the LEDs and the VU meter runs onto this little harness, wire harness right here. And then LEDs go to here and here and whatnot else. I mean, like I said, I really don't know how to properly explain this. Hopefully the finished video where everything's actually done, I'll actually be able to, yeah, what I'm going to do is that once I actually get this thing fully completed, I'll do a whole done video and properly explain how wiring system works and whatnot. It is almost midnight. I'm quite sleepy. So that's why I'm not able to really properly explain everything, since I'm so freaking sleepy. And I shorted the battery again. Give me a second, I gotta reset that battery. Alright, like I was trying to say, yeah, I'm sleepy, and I'm just gonna show what this thing looks like when the lights off and everything else, and the LEDs are semi-functioning. Now, remember, the LEDs I'm using, not the LEDs, the amplifier I'm using isn't exactly 100% there, so it's not gonna be proper. So, sorry, I'm gonna shut my computer off because I can't find the proper cables. Yeah. There we go. Now, of course, the LEDs, when I get a proper amplifier, won't stay a constant on like they are right now. This amplifier is a piece of junk. But what will happen is that basically, as the song dies down, like that song just did, the lights will actually turn off, and it will actually properly function like my personal dubstep gun. But at least you can get a general idea of what this thing's going to look like with actual LEDs on and whatnot. So, yeah, I'm going to put this video to an end. And hopefully tomorrow I can actually probably get an proper secondary amp and whatnot for this thing. Like I said, at least it's coming along nicely. And it is technically done. Technically, like I said, the reason why I say technically is because I got all the parts, excluding the amplifier, all done now. Excluding the stand and a few other things, but still.